And we are back with the third segment of the GSMC Basketball Podcast, presented by the GSMC Sports Network. And in this third segment, we are going to be talking about some hot takes coming in from fans. And these hot takes were taken from Court Coverage, the Instagram. You can go ahead and look at their Instagram. And he posted all of these users and their hot takes, and so I'll just be talking about them, and I'll give my opinions, whether or not this is really a hot take, whether how good of a hot take it is, how bad it is, this, that, and the other. So, first one is coming in from, let me just go ahead and check his name. It's Itai Top. Again, all these users are going to be really difficult to pronounce, obviously, and his hot take is that Bronny James is going to start after 30 games this season. And quite frankly, no. No, absolutely not. I know that, LeBron is Bronny's father, and I know how much of an influence LeBron has over not just the Lakers organization, but also the roster and the rotations. And actually, no, not even the rotations he has control over. But I do know how much of an influence he has with LA and the franchise. But to say that Bronny is going to start after 30 games, no, absolutely not. Based off of what I saw in the Summer League, coming in from Bronny, he wasn't all that impressive. And I know that I'm the one that said the Summer League doesn't matter all that much. It's still only a fraction of a game that we've seen from Bronny at a very professional level. And if he's struggling against people in the Summer League, he might struggle against people in the NBA, early on in the season. Again, I'm not saying that he's going to be bad for the entirety of his career. That's not what I'm saying. But it could be a struggle. Not to mention the fact that the team already, they have Dalton Connect, who's most likely going to be the sixth man. And then they also were able, the starting lineup has already been decided by JJ. And I see Bronny being more as a catalyst coming off of the bench as of right now than starting after 30 games this season. I feel like that is jumping the gun a lot. And assuming, unless Bronny just completely improved from the Summer League all the way up until this point, I don't really see that. And unlike his father, it's not like he was a crazy talent in high school. And he was obviously, talented. He was obviously incredibly talented, especially before he suffered, I believe it was cardiac arrest. And, he did have heart problems, and it's honestly a miracle that he's even in the NBA right now, still playing basketball, even after that sort of life-threatening catastrophe, life-threatening situation that he was in. And with that being said, though, I don't think he's going to start in after 30 games. I think that D'Angelo Russell, he's going to play well in the regular season. Austin Reeves is still going to be a huge favorite. He's also going to provide very solid three-point shooting, not to mention the height that comes with being, with D'Lo and Austin Reeves, as opposed to Bronny's height, because Bronny is rather undersized as a point guard. Again, he could easily grow a couple of inches, obviously, over a span or a period of time. But he's 6'2", and I believe when you compare him to Russell, I believe Russell is listed as 6'3". I'm just gonna make sure. He's listed at 6'3". And I believe Austin Reeves, I'm just going to make sure that his height is also a little bit higher than Bronny. Hold on just 1 second. And Austin Reeves is 6'5". So it wouldn't really make sense to start a 6'2" point guard unless he's really, really, really good, which I don't really think is going to happen in the 30 games. So next hot take is coming in from Ori Garfinkel. Yeah, I know, that's his name. And This is probably the most egregious hot take I've ever heard in my entire life. Fred VanVleet is more skilled than John Stockton. Yeah, that is a hot take. And no, he's not. John Stockton is the leader in assists for a reason. He's gone to several finals appearances as the number 2 option. He didn't win the finals because, Michael Jordan. But, of course, aside from that, Fred VanVleet wasn't the first option on that championship team either. I believe he was actually a 6-man. Or maybe, he did have decent rotations on that Raptors team. But he wasn't the reason why the Raptors won. The reason why the Raptors won that year was because Kawhi Leonard was amazing and because Kevin Durant and Klay Thompson got hurt. And that's something that a lot of people really like to sweep under the rug. No, Fred VanVleet is not more skilled than John Stockton. John Stockton is one of the league's best point guards in the history of point guards. Fred VanVleet is not. And this whole skilled argument, I cannot stand it. I genuinely cannot stand it because how do you measure skill? Please tell me, how does one measure skill? It's flashiness. That's because I've seen so many people say that Giannis has no skill. 31 points per game, 14, around 12 maybe rebounds per game, 60-something% shooting from the field. That, according to fans, means he doesn't have skill. That doesn't make any sense. The skill argument doesn't make any sense. It needs to stop. It genuinely needs to stop because this completely degrades so many players who put countless hours into the game, to improve and to be the best that they can be on the court. Oh my goodness. There are so many players that, people claim aren't skilled, but would absolutely destroy them in a one-on-one, destroy them in a 5-on-5 situation with no team. They would destroy them in a 1-on-5. I'm that confident. And it's it does not make sense to me. The skill argument, it really doesn't make sense to me. And a lot of people, they like to say that LeBron has no skill because he just, puts his head down and goes to the basket and gets layups. That takes no skill, according to some fans. And I'm just where is the argument in that? You're producing points. How can you not be skilled by producing points? So this skill argument is just atrocious. I cannot stand it. And no, Fred VanVleet is not more skilled than John Stockton. Next. Now, this one is actually a pretty good one, and I actually kind of agree with this being a hot take. The Chicago Bulls win under 24 games next season. Now, that is a very, very difficult task to do. I will say that. Now, the only reason why I say this is the best hot take so far is because all of the other ones were just absolutely egregious. And this one, I can see this sort of falling into place. However, I don't think it really will. They do have solid additions to the team that could work. It could work, but also they do have a lot of locker room drama between Zach LaVine and the GMs and the higher ups on the team because it's every single year there's trade talks about Zach LaVine and there's Chicago wants to trade Zach LaVine, but the value that they want out of Zach LaVine is just not all that great. His trade value and the trade market for Zach LaVine is very, very confusing. And this ultimately not only just affects the Chicago Bulls' inability to trade them, but it also affects the relationship with their player, their best player as of right now. Not to mention losing DeMar DeRozan to the Sacramento Kings. So right now, this team does not really seem like a very competent team. I definitely do think they're going to be one of the losing teams this season, especially considering the fact that Zach LaVine tends to get injured a lot now and might not even play much during the regular season. So if that does happen, and even if it doesn't, I don't think this team has enough pieces in a top-heavy Eastern Conference team to match up and to actually become a play-in team. Then again, anything is possible, but they were a play-in team in large part with DeMar DeRozan and the consistencies that he would bring in the regular season. So can't really say that I'm too high on the Bulls winning all that many games. However, I can't really say that the Bulls are going to win under 24 games, because winning under 24 games is a historic thing to do. It's really tough to do that. And I just don't really see the Bulls being that bad. That is Detroit Pistons level bad. That's not even Pistons level bad. That is bad. Hold on just one second, because I do want to check to see. Hold on just one second. Why does it take forever to look at records? Yeah, I mean, the Pistons, they were really, really bad last season. So were the Washington Wizards in the NBA last season. So it is possible that they could be that bad. But again, I just don't see it. With the way that with the roster and who they have on the roster, I don't see them being all that bad, especially considering the rest of the teams that are also going to be tanking in the Eastern Conference. There's a lot of tanking teams in the Eastern Conference. It's really insane. I mean, the Nets, they're on a full rebuild, so I have no doubt that they're going to try and be as bad as possible. The Wizards and the Pistons won't be able to help it. They're just bad. And then Charlotte seems to be on a track for winning. They do seem to be on a track for winning. But the Hawks, they also seem to be on a track for losing too. So it's I don't know. I really don't know. I really don't know. And the final hot take coming in from Rico M is that the Warriors have the deepest team in the NBA. And again, I also say no to that, because quite frankly, I think the Knicks actually have one of the deeper teams in the NBA. I mean, they definitely used to. I'm not too sure exactly how I feel about their roster now, but they do still have a chance to improve on that. But Kyle Anderson, I mean, most of the Golden State Warriors roster is composed of guards and forwards. Now, they do lack at the center position. Extremely they lack in the center position. They only have one player on their roster that's listed at center. And quite frankly, I mean, I don't really think that's a deep team. I don't think that's a deep team. If you only have one 7-footer on the roster, you're going to really be forced into a lot of small ball situations. And that's not a deep team. I'm sorry to say this, but it's having only one center in the rotation. Granted, you can put Draymond Green at center. You can also put some of the other players at center and make the adjustments that you need. But that also makes it difficult. That just really makes the managing of this lineup a little bit difficult. There's way too many guards on this lineup, and not enough big men. There are not enough big men on this roster to make it considered a deep team, in my opinion. So I don't think they're the deepest team. Their rotation at the center position is going to be very much lacking, and that's really all that I have to say. And those are all the hot takes that we have for today. So now we will go ahead and go into the fourth segment, where I talk about I look at D'Lo and reflecting on what he had to say about Darvin Ham, because there's an article that comes up, and I'm sure there's a lot of quotes coming up about D'Lo having something to say about his former head coach. So I'll be right back after this short break.
For the best and latest podcasts available anywhere, go to the podcast app on your cell phone and type in GSMC. To access free content-rich podcasts on health and wellness, book reviews, sports, entertainment, relationships, social media, movies, technology, finance, and even weird news. Subscribe and download the GSMC Podcast Network's family of shows, available everywhere podcasts are found.